The Dark Tower was a series of 8 fantasy novels written by Stephen King, and even though the first volume was released way back in 1982, and the fact that if Stephen King sneezes it gets adapted into a movie, it's still taken until now to finally get a big screen adaptation of it. Though I use the term adaptation loosely, as the film The Dark Tower really has almost nothing to do with the 8 novels and the one-off short story that inspired it. And oh, I know some people involved with the movie have tried to use the line that this takes place after the book series, but after seeing this film, it's really just a cop-out to try and get wary Dark Tower fans into the theater and out of their hard-earned cash. The Dark Tower is, to put it very simply, a mess. The story starts with a cursory introduction to the concept of the Dark Tower, but then quickly shifts over to Jake Chambers, a troubled kid in New York City who is having visions of the Dark Tower, the Man in Black, the creatures known either as Tahin or Kantoi, collecting breakers, which in this version are all children, and strapping them into machines to launch psychic attacks against the tower to bring it down, which would allow monsters to invade the universe. If this seems like a hell of a lot to throw at people during the first 10 minutes, that's because it is. A lot of these elements are from the later books in the series, and that's one thing that this movie does. It takes elements of the first book, it takes elements of the third book, it takes elements of the seventh book, but at no point does it actually adapt any parts of the story. It pretty much is an original story about these characters that uses some elements of the original story. Essentially, it's fan fiction, and in the realm of fan fiction, it isn't overly terrible. It's entertaining and well thought out, but the thing about fan fiction is it's meant to be digested by only fans, which, doesn't work because movies are supposed to be for everyone. Anyone could read The Dark Tower and eventually understand all of its intricacies, the made-up names, the different creatures, the different worlds, but these elements are slowly integrated into the story over thousands of pages, not crammed into the first 10 minutes of a 90-minute film. Eventually, Jake gets visions of Roland the Gunslinger, but shortly after this, the Kantoi try to kidnap him and use him as a breaker due to his psychic ability. In the book, it was called The Touch, though in the movie it's referred to as The Shining, which I think above all would confuse people. Yes, almost all of Stephen King's books are in a shared universe, and The Dark Tower connects to most of them. But to the average movie audience, The Shining was a Stanley Kubrick film from the 80s. This is the crux of my issue here. I enjoyed elements of this film, but it's by no means a good film. Idris Elba is fantastic as Roland. Matthew McConaughey is great as Walter Paddock. But the story is a cringe fest that at times is straightforward and leads to some very well done and exciting action set pieces, but at other times, as a fan of the books, I felt they were going about this in an extremely haphazard way, and I could only imagine how immensely baffling this film must be to someone who just saw the trailer and thought it looked like a fun movie. It's like the story of The Dark Tower was condensed with a car crusher, put into a blender, translated to Sanskrit, then to French, then to Klingon, and then back to English, and then adapted to film by someone who was being attacked by angry gorillas. But the kicker is that it's not even that shitty, because one thing that shines through is the essence of the characters, and that really kills me. These actors nail the characters that they are playing, and it just makes me lament how wasted they are in a movie that is The Dark Tower in name only. This is by no means a good movie or a good adaptation, but it has spurts of good dialogue, it has some cute character moments, it has some good action, and some imaginative sets. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. I hope that somewhere down the road we can get an adaptation that doesn't feel rushed, because this really felt rushed, which is ironic, because it took decades to actually come out. Oh well.